All right, man. Last thing I wanted to mention is that Big U got a superseding second indictment. I didn't get a chance to read it all, but it's been covered. It's been covered by a couple of media outlets, and it's not looking good. It is not looking good because there is a host of informants and CWs and CHSs, confidential human sources. And let me just read a little bit from the Source magazine covered this indictment. Let me see here. Okay, here we go. Big U faces expanded federal charges as new indictment details alleged threats and intimidation. Federal prosecutors have widened the scope of their case against Big U, filing a superseding indictment that adds a series of new overt acts, including allegations that he threatened to kill the late Nipsey Hussle in intercepted phone calls years after the rapper's 2019 death. To be clear, the federal government is not accusing Big U of involvement in Nipsey's murder outside the Marathon clothing store. That case has been prosecuted in state court where Eric Holder was convicted of first-degree murder. The new federal filing instead focuses on what prosecutors describe as a broader racketeering pattern built on intimidation, violence, and control. According to Deputy Attorney Todd Blanche, federal authorities cite intercepted phone calls from late 2022 and early 2023 in which Henley allegedly made threatening statements about Nipsey Hussle and others. In one call from December 2022, prosecutors say Big U said he was bigger than the deceased rapper, claimed he disciplined Nipsey Hussle, and described himself as bigger than any other Rollin' 60 Crip. And that's pretty much the sum of this.
That didn't sound too bad. I think everybody know about the physical thing. I never heard stories about it.
Yeah.
So I mean,
in 2011,
when we talk about the biggest, we talk about what that. And you think of Rollin' 60s, you do think of Big U. I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with thinking you the biggest of anything.
And then the gang culture, when you know what I'm saying, like say something is done, it's not accepted. I mean, it's disciplinary action, physical, y'all fist the cuffs. So I mean, I don't get the big deal with that.
It says here that he has presented himself as a mentor, youth advocate. The government's superseding indictment seeks to contrast that with the public image, with that prosecutors describe as private boasts of violence and enforcement. Let's see. This case now heads towards what is expected to be a closely watched federal trial, with the new allegations likely to become central. Among the newly added overt acts, prosecutors allege Henley discussed disciplining another Rollin' 60s member identified as OG Crip Cuz, claiming he had beaten for perceived disrespect and warning that he could have ordered a killing instead. So it's just a bunch of more information that they acquired, most likely through these confidential human sources. And I wanted to read, I found this 90-page document, which is part of the discovery in Big U's case. This document is more specific towards Bear Claw, but I noticed on about halfway through it, they get to talking about phone calls that have been recorded, and Whack 100's name comes up here. I'll read from a paragraph called Witness Interviews and Arrests. Interviews have been conducted. This is the federal government's filing. Interviews have been conducted during the investigation that have been effective in gathering information about Henley's involvement in the homicide. This is about Rayshawn Williams that was killed in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
They have also been effective in gathering information related to Henley's collection of extortion payments. Some of the interviews have also led to the recruitment of a few and aforementioned confidential sources who have been used during this case. However, as described above, these confidential sources have taken this investigation as far as it can go, and short of meeting its prosecutorial goals and objectives. Additionally, in my conversations with CHS-1 and CHS-2, I have learned that Henley associates with a tight-knit circle of people who have known each other for decades. Continued interviews with court-authorized interception of the target location could unnecessarily alert the targeted communicators to the interest of law enforcement in their illegal activity. Now, here's the paragraph that gets more interesting. The interviews would also have the effect of alerting the targeted communicators and others, therefore compromising the investigation and resulting in the possible destruction or concealment of documents and other evidence. Additionally, if the targeted communicators are alerted of the government's investigation, they may flee in order to avoid prosecution. For example, in late July 2022, the FBI Houston Division conducted a telephone interview with Cash Jones, a.k.a. WAC 100, about his interactions with a subject of their investigation. The FBI Houston Division believes Cash Jones recorded the interview because the entirety of the interview was posted to YouTube the following day. Based on my training and experience and knowledge of the investigation, I believe the interviews of associates of the targeted communicators will not stay private and alert them from the task force investigation of the Big U enterprise. And that just stood out to me because it just lets us know, Munchie, that the feds is listening to YouTube. They're listening to WAC 100. They're listening to everything that he says about Big U. They're obviously, even though 600's name is not in this particular document, they're listening to anything and everything that's related to Big U on YouTube, and they're using that as evidence.
Well, it sounds like they got something brewing for the Prince family, Jay Prince and them, because that recorded call is regarding Jay Prince. So they basically say he posted it to YouTube the next day, and you know they said something about that interfering with another investigation.
Okay, my question.
Did you catch that?
No, I'm confused. How is the Houston FBI interested in a call that WAC 100 recorded tied into Big U?
They saying that it will alert them. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like look, if you read it, I'll point it out.
Yeah, you're right. It would alert them that the feds are investigating.
Right. So that call didn't have nothing to do with Big U.
They're using it as an example,
right,
of trying to not let the people alerted that the feds are paying attention.
Right, investigation to be threw all off.
But it says here though that the FBI actually conducted a phone interview with Cash Jones about his interactions with the subject of their investigation. So are you saying the subject of their investigation is
the
Prince
family? Yeah, Jay Prince.
Okay. So that's down the line then. That's something else that we don't really have information on.
That's what I'm saying. They got something brewing for the Prince family. You know what I'm saying?
That's a trip, man.
You know, they investigating Big U, but they noticing over here while they investigating Big U, this dude is recording federal agents' conversations and posting it to YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to put a link to this document. This is a 90-page federal filing. It talks a whole lot about the number of confidential sources. I believe in this particular document, they've labeled at least 6 or 7 CHSs, confidential human sources. And should I read lastly? Let me read one more thing. Confidential human source number 3. Let's read what confidential human source number 3 had to say to the feds. Confidential human source 3 has received parole benefits and monetary compensation for, they say his or her. I'm just going to say his, but they have his or her to not let us know if this is a male or female. Mm-hmm. But for his assistance with another FBI investigation, CHS-3 has also received monetary compensation for his assistance with the FBI's investigation into the 60s. CHS-3 has a criminal history that includes stalking, possession of controlled substances for sale, and domestic violence. CHS-3 has also provided information to the California Department of Corrections and the Riverside Police Department. I have discussed the reliability of CHS-3 with the handling agents and officers from each and other law enforcement agency. Through these discussions, I have learned of no instance where the information provided by CHS-3 to other law enforcement agencies has been false or misleading. CHS-3 information has been corroborated by other confidential sources, physical surveillance, and through controlled drug purchases and consensually recorded conversations and phone calls. CHS-3's information has never been found to be false or misleading. So each CHS-3 has a lot of information described about them in this document, and that's just CHS-3 for anybody who wants to take a guess who that might be. Riverside PD and domestic violence history.
Everybody thinking the same person.